allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
Roll call, Jim.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. 6, pre-registered citizens to be heard. You have a limit of 5 minutes. A, state your name and address. B, comments to be limited to 5 minutes. C, pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.832 and 19.842, the board's role is to listen to public comments and not ask questions, discuss, or take action regarding pre-registered citizens' comments. Are there any?
Yes, Lynn Mishker, 304 Honeysuckle Drive.
Hi, Lynn.
Okay, I'm here to talk about the utility-owned water laterals in our area. They've been leaking in Horton Hills Edition number 4 for the last 6 years and affecting properties since 2018. In the spring and summer of 2018, I was mowing most of my fairly large back lawn with a walking mower in about 2 inches of water. I'm sorry, but my voice is going. That leak was across the street from me and was repaired in mid-July. The lawn was an absolute mess. I mean, you're walking in rubber boots because you can't even get out there in any type of other shoes, slogging through the water. The back lawn was again underwater the late summer and fall of 2019 until we convinced the utility to look for another leak, and the lateral in front of our property was fixed in early December. There was water in the backyard again in the early summer of either 2020 or 21, and a leak was repaired in front of the property on the corner of Lincoln and Honeysuckle on June 24th of that year. In the fall and early winter of 2022, there was water in the backyard, and a leak was repaired 2 houses east of me on Honeysuckle in January of 2023. Backyard was a soggy mess this year in late spring and during the summer. Another leak was found and repaired, and was found to be just pinholes at the Schneider house on Honeysuckle, directly across from the leak that was repaired in 2023. The yard was it was worse than the 2 inches because you couldn't walk out there without sinking in deep into the yard. You couldn't even mow with a walking mower without causing damage to the yard. My yard's been the brunt of every leak that's taken place since 2018. At the time, it was thought that it was because that leak ran for so long that it probably scoured a pathway under the street, and so pretty much everything goes directly. In 2023, when that leak was repaired, Aaron was surprised that it was affecting my property, but mine was really the only one that it was affecting, and it was 2 houses to the east where the leak was. The people who have the leaks down there, they're not being affected except for the fact that their front yards are being torn up and they have to man that patch for several years to try to get it to regrow. I've had 2 sump pump systems put into the house. One because we needed a backup, and the second one because it failed early this spring because of the amount of water that was coming through. I have water damage in the basement to the tune of $8,000, a good bit of which my insurance covered, thank heavens. Each time there is a leak, at least half of the backyard must be mowed by walking mower, and even that causes damage because the yard is so wet. The leaks this year were reported to be pinholes, and the result on my property was pretty massive. During the leak, the backyard is unusable by myself or my family. My grandkids can't even go out there to play anymore. And I don't think that any buyer would look at my property seriously if they can't even go out into the backyard. And this has been 6 years of at least part of almost every year you can't go out and use the backyard. A decision was made by the village some years ago to repair these leaks as they occurred, rather than replacing all the laterals in
and 312. 18 was probably one of the worst. We've mowed 3 months, May, June, and July, push mower in water. I guess all that I'm looking for is hopefully that we can develop a plan to get this taken care of, whether it be the problem areas first and then continue to work at it. I've lost pine trees in the back that I've planted over the years. The apple trees, they do not do well sitting in water for 3 months. So just looking to see what sort of plan we can put together. Just so when this happens, before we get it fixed, we know when there's a leak. I mean, whether it rains a lot or whether we know it. Our lawn, we can have standing water down there. The woods behind us will be dry. We know we got a leak. So that's all I'm here, just to back up what Lynn said and just seeing what sort of plan we can get to get this taken care of.
Thank you. Anyone else? No. Okay. We'll go to 7, committee reports. There are none. 8, unfinished business from previous meetings. There is none. 9, new business. A, discussion on 2024 survey report for the water supply serving Village of Hortonville.
So this is in your packet. It's a biannual survey, I think, that the DNR does of our water supply system. When they went through, they found no significant deficiencies, but they did find 3 areas where we were out of compliance. So the first one is there's 2 areas where we need to add additional fire hydrants. And we have quotes for that work on the next agenda item. So we're ready to address that right away. The second was there was a problem with our cross-connection control program, and basically how we were rating where our cross-connection control samples were being taken. So Sean has updated our spreadsheet and with different risk and hazards of these properties, and is sent back to the DNR. We're awaiting approval of that. Then the third area was we have problems with our well abandonment and private well inspection program. So we had 10 permitted well owners whose permits had lapsed. We sent certified letters to all 10 of those homeowners. So far, since that happened, that was on July 16th that we sent those in. 5 of the 10 have either updated their permit or have paid the permit fees and are just waiting on their testing results to come back. The other 5 have received phone calls reminding them that they're out of compliance, that their permits have run out and that they need to update their permits. So we'll give them another week for that, and then a second certified letter will go out to the remaining permit holders that need to update their permits. If nothing happens at that point, then we'll need to converse with our attorneys and see what kind of action we can take to kind of get them, make sure that they get into compliance. We have, per the DNR report, until December 31st of next year to get everybody into compliance, but I'd rather try to get it done sooner than later as far as that's concerned. Other things that they found that are just non-conforming. It's just discussion, I'm sorry.
So
So,
it is just discussion?
yeah, they
Okay,
just
sorry.
recommended that it was brought to the board's attention and it
Okay.
reviewed what was in it.
Thank you. Okay, B is discussion and possible action on 2024 water system fire hydrant installation bids.
So this is one that we would need action on. So we got, again, there was 2 areas where we needed additional hydrants that they identified when they did our review. We sent out requests, we got 2 quotes back, one from Immels for $19,630 and one from Parker for $19,392. So they're both really close. I guess my recommendation to the board would be to go with Immels, even though it's a couple $100 extra, just because I know that Parkers are really busy right now. They have pushed back their start date for our Mill Street project twice now because they had just a lot of stuff going that they're trying to get finished. And I would like to get these hydrants installed as soon as possible, and I know that Immels does have some capacity to do the work.
Where are the fire hydrants?
One is on John Street, kind of over by the ball field, and the other one is at the end of Gale Drive.
They don't exist yet?
No, they're not there. They're just where our water basically system dead ends. And the DNR likes to have a hydrant at those dead ends to be able to flush when we do our annual flushing.
Any other questions? Otherwise, we would need a motion.
So this isn't for the fire department hydrants, this is just a flush?
Yeah, just for water safety, basically.
Is there any other option other than installing a full hydrant? No.
Well-
Looping the system,
What's that?
looping the system, correct?
Yeah, and one of the hydrants, because it's a smaller one, is just a flushing hydrant. It's not, actually, that's one on John Street. And the Gale one, eventually, we're hoping that there's gonna be further growth in that area, so putting on a real fire hydrant would be probably the best move on that.
Gale Street. Where's that?
At the end of.
Geezy?
Yeah.
Easy, yeah. Any other questions? Otherwise, we would need the motion as to who would do the work.
I'll make a motion to approve the quote from Emil in the amount of $19,630 for installation of 2 hydrants.
I'll second. Are
Roll.
there any costs to like the residents for this?
Roll call, Jim?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. C, discussion and possible action on replacing of old hot water heater for the village municipal service center.
So we currently do not have hot water right now. Our tank is leaking from the bottom and they tried to fire it back up just to get a transition before we could get something fixed, and they couldn't even get it going, so it's dead right now. The options that we got from Blackhawk and Jeff's were to replace basically the 80-gallon tank. Jeff's water conditioning was a lower price for $57.35. The other option that they did give us was heaters is that in a big house or building, when you have multiple things going at once, sometimes they struggle to keep up. We really don't have that problem here. So if the board would like to go in that direction, it would be a little bit increased cost, but a longer life and less energy cost to heat it. Otherwise, we can replace what's there too. I really don't have a preference either way.
Is there some reason we need an 80 gallon?
Well, I think they were just replacing what was there.
But we
Based
really
on
don't
energy.
need it. I have a 50 gallon at home and there's 5 people in my household. We never run out of hot water. I just, could we not be cheaper with the 50 gallon?
I can get some more quotes and ask them that.
I mean, is it an emergency thing?
I mean, kind of, we don't have hot water, so anyone using the bathroom
Bathrooms.
are not able to wash their hands
Food
at all.
service, is food service
So-
an issue because of
We have food service, we have,
the officers taking showers?
yeah, we
Some
have
of them take showers.
dishwashers that aren't able to work, we have one set of washer dryer. It's, I mean, if you guys wanna go with a smaller amount, we won't bring it back, we'll just go ahead and do it. With
I
this,
think we
with this,
definitely should look into a smaller
if you wanna
one,
do a smaller amount, right?
because it would be sufficient.
What's the use for it then? I know you mentioned some showers and things like that, and dishwasher, but I mean,
That's about it. Wash your
Yeah.
hands.
Bathrooms, yeah.
80 gallons is
Right.
a good size unit, plus it's commercial then. You can't list it as a residential if it was like, say, a 50 gallon. Is it gas or is it electric? Must be gas.
I'm pretty sure it's gas, the one that's in there right now.
So many things have been oversized, you know, over the past years on projects and things.
So is this quote from Jeff's, does that include the labor and everything? Because it didn't really state it.
Yeah, it wasn't very detailed.
Yeah, where at least Blackhawk, you know, stated what they were all going to do. So,
Did notice that.
Yeah, I agree, I think you should, I mean, if you downsize it, hopefully you can get it to 5,000 underneath your.
Okay.
so then we will just make a motion to approve them to go ahead if they can get a lower price on a 50 gallon. Since it's an emergency situation.
Yeah, I can, yeah. All right, I'll make a motion
Does that seem
to,
like enough water for your officers?
Yeah. Nobody's ever complained, you know, that they ran out of water, but it doesn't take that much to take a shower either.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of a 50-gallon hot water heater from Jeff's Water, Water Conditioning and Greenville Plumbing.
I'll second it.
Roll call, Jim.
Aye.
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 Motion carried. D, discussion and possible action accepting donation of a parcel and temporary road construction.
Mr. Clegg is here, I can pull up the parcel here for you. He wants to donate the spare road we have, basically our temporary road into Wildland Phase 2. And the lot that it's connected to to the village.
Where it takes that bend from the, where it comes into lot 31 to go to lot 32, I take that out. And I would extend the road from the outlot through lot 31, and I gotta put 2 culverts in there. So I'd supply the culverts, put the road in to the village specs. I mean, I had Nate down there to show him what I wanna do, what we think we should do. I think we're on agreement what we gotta do there. There might be a little dog leg when you come off that outlot into 31. Because there's,
So this would come straight down?
yeah, right where you went, yeah, right about there, yes, right there. There might be a slight dog leg coming off that outlet in the 31, not much of one. So we can stay away from them trees, and there's a ditch there, there's a natural ditch, plus there's a gas line down there.
You mean 41, right?
Yep.
30.
It's lot 31, but it's 41 up there, correct?
Okay.
Well, you know, now that the guy west of us, you know, he's putting 2 houses on 32 acres, that road is kind of a dead end. And my thinking was, hey, you need another road, an exit, an egress in that subdivision. You can't have one road. And also, what would I do along lot 31 on the east side? I'm taking all that stone out of there. I'm gonna put I have a tree spade, I have trees in my tree farm, and I would put a couple rows of trees in there. So block that off, you know, by lot 32. And that makes lot 32 saleable. You know, right now I got lot 32 through 35, and I think if I block that off with a bunch of trees on your lot, I think that'd help me sell the lots in there.
What's the downside?
I don't really see a downside to it, other than it's not taxed and it's our responsibility in the future. A little bit of liability because it's a road, it's gravel.
Is that village specs then? Would that meet the village specs that he was talking about?
Yeah, 66 foot is the right of way minimum, and then basically for a secondary local road, it is 26 wide, and he's planning on doing 30.
In the developer's agreement, when I built out, that road goes away. And so does that lot. I can sell that lot and build a house. But I'm willing to give it to you for a tax write-off, because it helps you, helps me a little bit. I get a little tax write-off, and you got another exit, entrance to something. Not a lot of people use it, but they use it, you know, bring the heavy equipment in, build up houses. And there's a couple, 2 or 3 houses, I think there's 4 going in there this year. We sold 3 lots this year, we got 8 left. So they're building a couple houses every year in there. You know,
That's
they've
part
got
of Wildwood? That's
Yeah.
part of Wildwood?
Wildwood. That's
Wildwood.
Wildwood too.
Can you pan out?
It's on double T.
So past the fire station.
Oh, it's like at the way back of that development.
It's the second part.
Yeah,
It's what
second
they-
phase.
Okay, I understand
For the
now.
west part,
Yep.
yeah. Any other questions? Otherwise, we would need a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept the donation of parcels 240111379 and 240111341.
Second. Roll call, Jim?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. E, setting up a call to discuss 2025 capital improvement projects. A, clerk treasurer, Jane.
My report was in the packet.
Are there any questions for Jane?
I have a question. Can the hours for early voting be longer?
Like daily? Potentially. What would you,
I just had a resident share their experience that they came in a little bit after 3 and they missed the window.
yeah. Residents always have the option to ask for an absentee ballot and mail for them. We do stay open that one Friday till 5, the second Friday.
Just the one Friday?
Yep, by statute, we have to be open till 5.
On just that one?
Yes.
Could it be any of, more of those days open till 5? Are other communities having later hours or?
No, not really.
Okay.
I just know
potentially
we could.
People work till 4 and 5.
Trying to think if I already told the county, not yet, when I'm gonna do it. Potentially we could, I guess.
Okay.
We'll talk about it, I guess.
Okay. Thanks.
Sure.
Any other questions? Okay, we'll go to B, Director of Public Works, Aaron.
My report's in the packet, and just wanted to let everybody know, next week we'll be starting to break ground on, the new playground and splash pad at Oaxaca.
Awesome. Any questions for Aaron? Okay, we'll go to C, Police Chief.
And my report is in the packet.
Are there any questions for Chris?
Yeah, so I had a resident, an anonymous resident, send me a letter with a picture from Facebook. I think they were concerned, there was a inquiry about, does the Hortonville Police Department have a drone? And the response was no. What happened to our drone?
We're working on trying to get it up and going.
Okay.
The problem is that the fire department, we were all good going forward with it, but then when the fire department got a drone, the two entities can't be labeled as one. It's gotta be one person that's gotta be in charge of both of them. So we're working through that with the FAA.
I'm not sure I understood, I don't really understand that answer.
I don't either.
So you can't, the fire department and the police department can't have a drone, is that what you're saying?
Well, what they're saying is, and again, I don't understand it. So, I mean, I'd be willing to talk with you after the meeting, but, the FAA is saying that it's gotta be just one entity and not two entities, but we're two separate entities.
So they're lumping us as one.
Right.
Oh, so you have to get a permit for it
Yes.
through the FAA?
Yes.
And
There's
the permit
lots
gets
of
listed
hoops you
for
have to
Hortonville.
jump through.
Yeah, so
in
it gets
order-
listed for Hortonville, so then you have two entities
Right.
in Horton. Okay, I
Yeah.
understand. I understand. The response probably shouldn't have just been no. Should have been contact the Hortonville, the fire department, or, yeah, we have one, but there's a complication, contact them, but the answer was, I think the resident that sent me this, and I'm gonna have to guess, because all I did was get a blank envelope with no return address and just pictures of Facebook posts.
Right.
But I'm assuming that what they the message was that they know that the police department has a drone, and the police department responded publicly, no.
Right.
And to the
But
question of do
the
we have
person,
one?
we own one. We
Yes.
don't have one that
Correct.
operates.
Yes, and that's my assumption, is that's why they got sent out, was because whoever saw this knows that the police department has a drone,
Right.
and didn't like the response that, the police department's response was to say they don't have one.
We-
Any other questions?
I'd just be careful about a Facebook hole. Policing any and every comment that's on Facebook.
I'm not policing a comment, I'm not policing a comment, I'm making an observation that residents know that the police department has a drone. So when asked if the police department has a drone, the response probably should not be just no. It should be, we don't have one that we can send out. I could refer you to the Hortonville Fire Department, but not to say that we don't have one, because if they know that we have one, then saying no is not gonna come across as, they don't understand, whoever sent this didn't understand whatever complications you're going through. I understand there's complications, they didn't understand that, but what they did understand was they know the police department has one, and then they asked about it and they said no. So that's the part they didn't understand, which reflects very poorly.
Right, but we have one, but we don't have one.
I
You have one, you
totally-
just don't have one you can use.
Right.
Yes.
I totally gathered that the first time around. Stepping
No.
back, a broader lens is, it is Facebook. It's just, how much attention do you want to give to anything that's exchanged on Facebook?
But he was mailed that anonymously by someone, so obviously someone was concerned. So it was maybe more than just a Facebook post that someone was trying to say something negative. So that's probably why Jim is responding, because we have to look into something when someone mails us something. So that's the only reason. I mean, it's good to follow up. Okay, we will move to D, Library Director, Ally.
My report was in the packet. I want to give credit to Nathan for suggesting pushing the longevity earlier, because we have seen that retention in our employees. As of 2025, 6 of our 8 employees will now be longevity, which is 3 years or more employed. And as a department that has had a massive amount of turnover in the last 8 years since I've been here, that is huge. And I think it really speaks to the culture that we have here in the building, that people want to stay.
Ally, can I ask a favor? Could you, at the last meeting, you had the, what a library board can do versus what a village board can do.
Yeah.
Could you send that out to the board? Because that was very interesting.
Is that what Bradley provided?
Yes.
Yes, I can do that.
Yes, I really like that, and I think that would help all of us understand more what a library board does and what a village board can do.
Definitely,
So-
especially having newer trustees on
Yes.
the table, because it is We are a separate entity according to state statute, and our authority is very different from village authority. So yes, I can certainly send that out as well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions for Ally? Okay, we'll go to
Laterals that need to be probably removed, especially along the honeysuckle route. The whole subdivision was put in, going up through Lincoln, but, so we're gonna have to have the engineer kind of look and see what their thoughts are on the area on Lincoln as well. But it might just be that honeysuckle's lower in the wetlands areas.
So there may be more acidic soils that are causing the pipes to decay a little bit more farther down. Something we're looking into, we're also going to try to get rural water out with a listening device again and just go through the whole neighborhood and make sure that there's nothing currently leaking. And then try to get some estimates on what it would cost to either, like was suggested, start piece by piece replacing them, or just to try to do it all at once too.
any questions then for Nathan?
I assume we didn't hear anything about the lights. She said she didn't think she was gonna have it by this meeting,
Anything else? Okay, we'll move to G, building permit report. There is none. H, any other miscellaneous topics for future discussion? Topics or questions for future agendas only? No discussion or answers? Are there any? Okay, we move to 11, communications and miscellaneous business. A, Black Otter Lake District News. Bob?
We, excuse me, we had our annual meeting last Monday, the 19th, and we had about 40 people attend, which was nice to see. So, although we don't have the approved minutes to hand out or anything like that, but there was two main topics that were discussed. We had a presentation by the engineering firm that was hired, Emmons and Olivier, and their initial study said that the lake itself is has a very healthy fish environment, but it may never be the kind of lake that people want to and think of as a great swimming lake. So I think it's a reality check that we just wanted to make sure people were aware of. Phosphorus is the main problem with the lake, and that's what we're hoping to be able to address and where it's coming from. So that was the one topic, and then the other one was the village residents approved the the commission to be able to take this study and go before Outagamie County Board, I think it would be,
Yep.
and present that and look to have a wider participation of property owners and property that are contributing to some of the problems that we do have in the lake. So that was a good thing, and that'll be here, I think next year, was it, or something?
Yeah, it's going to be a time-consuming process. So I did actually have a meeting with them to follow up on the annual meeting today, and they're going to get that to us. But basically what they're doing is creating basically a map, or it's called a GIS shapefile, of the entire drainage area of the lake. So wherever rainfall or runoff comes from, it's going to eventually get to the lake. And what we would do then is lay that map over a property map, and if you're in that watershed, then it would go to the county board to see if they should be included into the Black Otter Lake District. Right now, it's mostly just the village. And the greater watershed or contributing area to the lake is a lot larger than just the village.
Any questions for Bob? Okay, we'll go to B, Hortonville, Hortonia Fire District News. Jim?
There is none.
C, Gold Cross Ambulance Run Report and News. There's none. D, Hortonville Civic Association. Jane?
Unfortunately, I have to say that we have to postpone. The Brenneman family has had recent health issues with one of their members that is very serious, and we decided it would not be a celebratory event at this point this year, so we are going to put it on hold until next year.
E, Senior Activities Committee. There's no report. 12, comments and suggestions from citizens present. Are there any?
I guess I would just like to say that I'm glad to hear that the lateral problem in our area is at least on the horizon. Like I say, it has been 6 years, and it's been a lot that we've been taking on in just our very small area. And then the road has been taking quite a hit as well with all the patches that are going on, so it's nice to see that it's getting looked at.
Thank you. Okay, we will go then to 13. I would need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are now adjourned at 6:42.